From the book of Acts of the Apostles 8:26 through 39, God's angel spoke to Philip, "At noon today, I want you to walk over to the desolate road that goes from Jerusalem down to Gaza." He got up and went. He met an Ethiopian eunuch coming down the road. The eunuch had been on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem and was returning to Ethiopia, where he was minister in charge of all the finances of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. He was riding in a chariot and reading the prophet Isaiah. The Spirit told Philip, "Climb into the chariot," running up alongside. Philip heard the eunuch reading Isaiah and asked, "Do you understand what you're reading?" He answered, "How can I without some help?" and invited Philip into the chariot with him. The eunuch said, "Tell me, who is the prophet talking about, himself or some other?" Philip grabbed his chance. Using this passage as his text, he talked about Jesus. As they continued down the road, they came to a stream of water. The eunuch said, "Here's water. Why can't I be baptized?" He ordered the chariot to stop. They both went down to the water, and Philip baptized him on the spot. When they came up out of the water, the Spirit of God suddenly took Philip off, and that was the last the eunuch saw of him. But he didn't mind. He had what he'd come for and went up down the road as happy as he could be.
The remarkable thing about this passage is, so here is Philip. He is a follower of Jesus Christ, right? He is an evangelist. He's on the road. He meets this eunuch. And obviously this eunuch was not able to worship in the temple proper. This eunuch felt like he was outside of his own faith, right? Because his own laws, Jewish law, said he is not part of the assembly. Here is Philip talking to him about Jesus and how everything had changed with Jesus. This is a proof text for how the very earliest church treated eunuchs, people that were outcasts from the Jewish law, people that were transgender, gay, or that were actually officials and they were just castrated for that purpose. But here's what the church did. After Philip talked to him about Jesus and talked to him about how Jesus accepted everybody, how Jesus healed the sick, how Jesus preached good news to the poor, the eunuch asked this, "Look, there is water. What hinders me from becoming part of the church? Could I be a part of the church? Could I be baptized? Could even I, as a eunuch, be baptized and be part of the assembly?" And Philip didn't even hesitate. It says they got up out of the chariot and he baptized him. And then look what it says at the very end. I think it's the next slide, right? Oh, no, here it is, yeah. He had what he'd come for. This is talking about the eunuch, and went on down the road as happy as he could be. He was finally accepted, a full member of the assembly of believers for the very first time. He was happy. That's what the church did back then. And it is so sad to see that even to this very day, most churches and actually most religions do not accept gays and lesbians, transgender, bisexual, and queer people into the ordained ministry, do not allow for gay marriage to happen. And it breaks my heart personally, because as most of you know, I have 3 gay children. And I got in trouble with the church. And I was willing to stand up for my gay children in front of the whole church as they put me on trial. And I said, what we're doing is wrong. It's discrimination. We are harming beloved children of God, and it has to stop. And because of my hard stance, they defrocked me. They took my church away from me in Pennsylvania. And I was no longer considered a United Methodist minister for a while until I won my appeal. But I want to, today it's all about transgender people. I want to read a little bit about Ryland. Just a few words, just the very first page of this book called Raising Ryland. It was given to me actually in San Diego when I talked there about 3 weeks ago. It was given to me by the actual family. I met this family. They were there. And it was a joy to meet them. And I saw Ryland. And Ryland is now 9 years old. And here's what Hillary, the mother, said. She said, "It's amazing how one can question, how one can hold the power to change everything in our lives. It was profound in its simplicity, and the most incredible part of it was the fact that it came from a toddler. But that's who Ryland is, the innocent, self-aware, strong, and compassionate child who has already educated millions of people about what it means to be transgender. The moment when I knew we could no longer ignore Ryland's journey had actually occurred the night before he asked me that question, after he told me that he would wait for our family to die so he could cut his hair. To him, only being free of the very people who loved him most would make it possible for him to exist on the outside as the same person he was on the inside." Ryland was a toddler when he said that to his parents. How can you not have love and grace and acceptance for your own child, which his family thankfully did, and allowed this child to cut his hair? And now Ryland looks like a little boy and he acts like a little boy, even though he may not have been born as a little boy. It is very, very apparent and clear to anybody who meets Ryland that he is a little boy. And so today we want to make a statement right here against the teachings of our own denomination, against the teachings of many religions and doctrines and whatever they call their principles and bylaws. And that statement is that we must, as Christian people, as religious people, accept everybody without judgment. Everybody must be not only welcomed and accepted, but must be supported for who they are inside. And we must be there for them on their journey. So Lexi, would you come and lead us in this next part?